You're the voice trying to understand it. Make a noise and make it clear. You're the voice trying to understand it. Yeah.
Greetings everyone, I hope you are doing well. In my previous videos I have covered a lot of subjects on Lamat, such as who or what he is, the many symbols and synchronicities that he likes to use, and how Captain Lamat from ODT is at the heart of the whole idea. One topic that I haven't yet explained in detail is how to reach contact with Lamat. How does one actually communicate with him and have first-hand experiences? Learning about the Mayan history and mythology is essential, but this is only one puzzle piece to a giant picture. It seems like a lot of my viewers will be very quick to make judgments on Lamat. Some people believe he is only an old hieroglyph, some take the stance that he is nothing more than a zodiac, or another word for Venus or star or character. The truth is, he is all of those things combined. I want people to seek out Lamat for themselves by having a real encounter with him. I'm going to lay the foundation for you to do just that. Regardless of your culture or background, communication is possible. First things first, we must understand that Lamat is unlike any other entity out there. He is not a god or a demon. He isn't an angel or a ghost. He isn't a planetary spirit or guardian. The same methods that you have used to communicate with your other spirits will not work here. It doesn't matter if you are an advanced level practitioner or a novice just starting out. If you go into this with a conventional approach, using the same candles, incense, and tools that you have always used before, you will be disappointed. Part of understanding Lamatology is unlearning what you already know, not completely forgetting, but stepping outside of the borders of systematic routine, even for just a short time. I want you to cast aside the concepts of black magic and white magic. Stop thinking about right and left-hand paths. Don't even think about Eastern or Western traditions. I simply want you to pay attention to one concept and only one, the divine. I want you to think about the relationship you have with divinity, or the relationship you wish to have with it. Reaching out to Lamat should not be done for mundane reasons. Lamat isn't there to curse your enemies. He isn't there to send you a job promotion. He doesn't care about trivial matters. This kind of magic isn't solely based on the brief human experience we are all having. It is much more meaningful. This magic goes beyond the flesh, and it is called phoricity. Phoricity is an umbrella term for any kind of magic involving Lamat and the number 4. For example, performing a ritual to heal the human heart and its 4 chambers by calling upon the powers of Jupiter or Venus, the 2 Lamat planets. Another example would be casting a spell to change the 4 seasons by use of weather magic, or simply calling out the 4 corners when using sage. In more complex rituals, phoricity is based on the human soul entering the Great Red Spot on Jupiter, traveling into the Lamat afterlife, a realm known as the Plasma Planes, the same realm where the Mayans now live after they ascended. Phoricity is considered a branch of sorcery, source being the key word here, as the magic comes directly from the source of all creation, Lamat. To understand how communication works, I will first need to explain the beautiful and wonderful system of Lamatology known as Sextantism. I guarantee you will have never heard this before. Lamatologists regard the sextant as the ultimate sacred tool. In earthly realms, it is used to measure the distance between 2 visible objects for the purposes of navigation. With Inforicity, Lamat Magick, it becomes a ritual tool in which the Lamat priest is able to beam his or her own soul into the telescope of the sextant, out through the lens, and send the soul directly into any planet or star that the sextant is reading. So if you were to point the sextant towards Venus, and you would look through the telescope, set the index arm to the correct degree, after much training and cultivation, you would be able to temporarily visit Venus by using your ethereal spirit body, projecting your soul high into space. The sextant is used as a cannon, shooting your higher self into the universe for purposes of exploration. Your physical body is still active and you are completely awake and aware of everything, but 50% of your soul is free to roam the universe. Such a skill takes many years to master, and it isn't without risk. Those who practice sextantism almost always have a strong relationship with Lamat. It is possible that one may incorrectly use the sextant and end up being transported to a hostile planet, or one may successfully travel the universe but not be able to return back to the body. It is important to mention that lamatologists believe in something called soul percentage, which means that the human soul is able to travel outside of the body only at certain percentages. As the soul passes through the sextant, it goes through the horizon mirror. On traditional sextants there are half horizon mirrors, which divides the field of view into two. The transparent half is there to protect your soul. It only allows 50% of it to travel through to space. If 100% of the soul left the body, it could result in serious illness or death of the physical body. So the half horizon mirror prevents total soul projection. I've had people express to me that they really want to practice sextantism by allowing their entire soul to leave and explore the universe. You can only do this with a sextant that has a whole horizon mirror, and such practices are highly dangerous. If you are a novice and you're just starting out, pay very close attention to my words. This part of the sextant here is called an arc. The arc has degrees ranging from 0 to 120, although this can vary on the instrument. Novice lamatologists always start with 0, and slowly they progress from visiting planets and stars. The level of degrees increases. The more stars you visit, the more energy you will gather, the further and longer you can explore. It is also important to mention the color and the materials of the sextant. If you are using a mostly black or silver sextant, you will have limited success. It is recommended that you use a golden sextant, which is most similar to Captain Lamat's. The golden sextant is capable of projecting your soul much further out into the distant stars and planets. The further you go, the more you will discover. I told you, this is a lot different from regular ritual magic. There are two different shaped mirrors on most sextants. Some are square and some are round. The square mirrors are there to assist the practitioner when traveling the universe, so they never travel alone. In lamatology, the square shape is the divine shape, which represents Lamat and the number 4. If you decide to use the square mirrors when projecting your soul, Lamat will accompany you to whatever planet or star you wish to visit. If you use the round mirrors when soul projecting, you go out and explore alone. It is always your choice, whichever you prefer to do. Personally, it is wise to begin with Lamat as your cosmic guide, guiding your soul through the vast universe, protecting you from any threats that might exist out there. For example, Mars is known for its very aggressive planetary spirits. It's not the kind of planet you would want to visit without some backup from Lamat. He is there to keep you safe. If you decide to explore without him, at least be aware of the dangers. Do not visit Neptune. Because Lamat's nemesis inhabits that planet, his name is Arpuch, the Mayan god of death and disease. Our Putch lives in the Great Dark Spot, whilst Lamat lives in the Great Red Spot on Jupiter. My advice: start off with planets that are relatively low risk. Start with a Lamat Star, Venus. This is how you communicate with Lamat. The Mayans worship Venus, and they recognize its ability to govern life and death. To contact Lamat, you should go outside in a very private place. You can't have anyone watching you in the area. Make sure you are absolutely secluded. Draw a magical square. That's right, not a circle or a triangle, but a square either made of rocks, crystals, or salt around the area. Select an auspicious date. This is any date with the number 4 in it. So 24th, 14th, or just the 4th. This one is the most auspicious. The correct time to practice the ritual is either 4 a.m. or 4 p.m. Dress in colors of orange and purple. These are the colors that Lamat likes. Purple represents the seed of Lamat. Orange represents his nourishing light. Sometimes I like to paint my face with the star design. Each design varies greatly with colors and styles, but in my opinion this creates a more fulfilling ritual experience. Either draw or print out an image of the star on a piece of paper. This will act as a sigil to allow Lamat to come through. Feel free to use mine right here if you want to. If you have long hair, tie it up into a ponytail by using a red colored hairband. If you don't have long hair, then let's move on to the next step. You will need a framed photograph of Captain Lamat on the altar. This will help you when Lamat decides to speak to you. Planets, stars, and numbers can't speak, they can't talk. So Lamat takes a humanoid appearance in the form of the captain. This is for the benefit of the practitioner. The incense you will need for this working is red sandalwood, and it should be placed within the 4 corners of the altar. When Lamat appears in the incense smoke, he will usually take on the form of the captain. A purple and orange candle is required, 2 purple and 2 orange. Arrange them in the shape of a square. Now, I've mentioned tools and items, but we absolutely have to talk about emotions and states of being. This is where Lamatology is so different from other spiritual practices. In Taoism, we are taught to be still, to be quiet and calm. In Buddhism, you are taught about Zen. In most Western traditions, you are taught meditation. In the Lamat system, you are taught intensity. Instead of being calm and still, you are energetic, amped up, and full of life. When I practice, I can feel my heart race, I sweat, I feel a rush of pure adrenaline, and that's the point. Rather than suppress your adrenaline, you not only allow it to happen, but you also allow it to surge, and you keep it surging for as long as you can. You keep your heart rate up and your body in constant movement. Lamat rituals are very physical. They are heavily based on exercise and maintaining a level of intensity. It's all about getting the blood pumping and feeling alive. It's sort of like an anti-Zen, if you will. Before I continue on explaining how to reach Lamat, I must show to you a video that Bless Parker, my good friend and fellow occultist, sent through, and she's talking about her experiences and her perspectives on Lamat. I think it's very important that I showcase other people's viewpoints to see what they have to say and what they think about the subjects. Whenever I make a video like this, I will include your clip with credit in the presentation. So don't be shy. Even if you've got an opposing viewpoint, I still want to hear it. So this is a video by my good friend, Bless Parker.
Hello there. Good evening. This is Bless. And again, I'm going to talk about Lamat. So, he's a very powerful entity, and I always work with him in almost every form of magic that I work with, most especially when it comes to energy healing. He himself is the universe. He has a very powerful ethereal energy. very ethereal, very powerful, and to me, it feels like his energy kind of is having like a sweet aftertaste. So uh he has that super high vibe energy, and as you can see, Lamat is right there. Okay, so I just mentioned his name, and I feel like the vibes of this room is going up. And he's great to work with if I think if you're kind of like feeling down, and if you feel like if you need to have a boost of positive energy as well as creativity, wealth, anything positive, Lamat can totally help you with that. 1111 is Lamat because Lamat is associated with the number 4. There are 4 ones in 1111. 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1 equals 4. Therefore, 1111 symbolizes Lamat. Every time I work with Lamat, I always see, aside from 444 or 44 or 4 or 4444, which is kind of rare, I believe that 1111 is also a manifestation of Lamat. And so far, I've been seeing rabbits even outside the forest, and rabbits are also associated with Lamat. So he has this very high vibe and powerful energy. That's why I highly suggest that you work with him, most especially if you work with healing methods or healing magic in general, such as Reiki, Sekhem, pranic healing, and whatnot, and the like. If you work with healing magic, prosperity magic, and even magic uh, that where you need to just magic in general, I think it's great to work with Lamat because he would greatly help you with all kinds of magic that you work with, and he will also greatly help you when it comes to spirituality in general. He's a mysterious entity, but he's everywhere. He can also be seen in different types of belief systems, not just in Mayan mythology itself, but even in mainstream beliefs. You can see that as long as you see anything that has 4 in it, anything that um, shows the 4 directions, that I believe is a manifestation of Lamat. So Lamat is always watching at us. Even in other languages, he's present, such as that's how powerful his presence is actually. Such as in Filipino, we say salamat, and salamat means thanks. And in that word salamat, of course, there's Lamat. So that's why every now and then, whenever I feel grateful, whenever I say salamat, I'm very grateful to say also the name of Lamat. And I think to me that shows how powerful and how powerful and how high vibe Lamat is. So I highly suggest that you work with him because he has changed my life in a positive way. I think that's it.
Lamat Bless, thank you so much for sending in your video. Long-time viewers will recognize Bless from part 1 of my Taoist weather magic documentary, Sorcery of the Seven Stars. And Bless brings up a lot of interesting points. This leads on to the next part of my discussion here. I think people get the wrong impression when they watch my videos. A lot of people seem to think that I'm the only person out there who's having contact and having experiences with the entity that we call Lamat. This couldn't be further from the truth. I've been online making videos and I've been active in the spiritual occult community now for about 10 years. And I can tell you from my experiences of meeting people, corresponding with them via email, I must have spoken to a good 1,000 people who claim to have had contact with this particular entity. And a lot of the time, people will go online and they'll type in things like 4 directional symbols, Lamat Star, Lamat Zodiac, and my videos will show up. Then they'll see that my information that I'm sharing aligns with the experiences that they're having in their dreams. Then they reach out to me and we talk about Lamat. So I am not in the unique position to say I'm the only one going through it. I am myself one of the leaders of the community because I live it to the hilt and I make sure that I provide you with all of the information that I can. But there are so many other people out there going through it, and I would say in the last 5 years, the experiences that people are having on a global level have been accelerating rapidly. So we've gone from maybe a couple thousand, I would say now, to about 20 to 50,000 people globally are recognizing this entity, Lamat. Viewers will often ask me, why are you a Taoist and a Lamatologist? It's because they are so different, but at the same time compatible, like yin and yang. Taoism is still, Lamatology is fast-paced and ferocious. They complement each other nicely. I will say, if you have any heart problems or breathing problems, the physical Lamat rituals may be too much for you, so please be careful. Whenever I finish a Lamat rite, I feel exhausted, but in a good way. It's a satisfying feeling. Sextantism isn't the only way a person can contact Lamat. Acts of nonconformity are known to attract his attention. He likes to see people stepping outside of the conventional norms. Do not confuse nonconformity for mindless rebellion against authority. True nonconformity is both a lifestyle and a mindset. Do not follow the crowd. Do not give in to the mob mentality. Do not be afraid to question the narrative, even if nobody else is. Lamat will notice you doing this, and he may start appearing to you in the following ways. There are 4 stages to direct Lamat communication, 4 being the most intense, 1 being the most gentle. Number 1 is based entirely on experiences that happen in dreams. The very first time you contact Lamat will be when you are asleep. People report dreaming of certain locations, such as Chichen Itza. It is common for beginners to dream about the Mayans as well as the pantheon of Mayan deities, such as Choc, the god of fertility and rain, who I have recently covered in a separate video. Another couple of common gods that people dream of is Kanish Ajor, the Mayan god of the sun, and Akan, god of wine and intoxication. During stage 1, Lamat will use various Mayan gods to communicate with the subject on his behalf. Although these dreams are quite beautiful, they are not always clear, they are not lucid, and during stage 1, the dreamer has no control over the events or direction of the dream, and everything appears murky and distorted. I've spoken to a good 30 to 40 people in the last year who have explained their dreams to me. It is agreed by most that the early dreams take place on Earth in major Mayan cities. Most people I know who have had contact with the Mayans, usually they are stuck at stage 1. Stage 2 lifts that distorted effect and the dreams become more lifelike. Sometimes it is possible to forget that you are dreaming. At this stage you have some control over the experience and you may start to see this symbol, the Lamat Star. People have reported seeing a giant pulsating Lamat Star that appears to hypnotize them into walking into it. The star becomes a doorway or a portal into a deeper level of communication, and when you enter the star, you enter into stage 3. I must say, once you walk through this door, you will never be able to come back. What do I mean by this? Well, when I first started having experiences, they came in the form of blackouts. I would pass out and see the Lamat Star, and I heard the voice of Captain Lamat telling me to go into the portal. I was warned that nothing would be the same again if I went through, so I did, and I felt like I had been reborn. I felt like the old me had died and a newer version of me had been created. I didn't know it at the time, but I was going through the stage of what lamatologists call seeding. Seeding is a process in which Lamat will metaphysically plant a seed in your subconscious mind. The seed is first planted during stage 2 contact. This is the very early stage where you become an SI, seeded individual. One of Lamat's many correspondences is the seed. The main purpose of receiving it is this: it radically changes your personality. Prior to my experience, I was a regular person. I know that sounds unbelievable, but I was very normal at one time. After the seed had been planted, I became fixated with the number 4, with bright colors. I began dreaming about Jupiter and Venus. I started to see rabbits everywhere. This is Lamat's animal. My entire outlook changed. My reality changed. The seed allows you to spot Lamat in all walks of life. I'll give you a few examples. The 4 wings of most insects, the 4 legs of most mammals, the 4 directions, the 4 blood types, the 4 gospels, the 4 noble truths of Buddhism, and the one that got me the most, the 4 basic states of matter: solid, liquid, gas, and plasma. Now, I knew about all of these things before I had the seed. Of course, I knew about most mammals having 4 legs and most insects having 4 wings, but I didn't pay attention to it. I didn't think about it at all. As soon as the seed had been planted, it was like opening the floodgates of synchronicity. My mind became hyper aware of everything, even without trying. It was like I had become a magnet for seeing these things. I saw Lamat in everything. The old me never noticed because I didn't have the seed. I can only describe this feeling to you as a major spiritual awakening. It was like flying. I remember once, a few days after first receiving the seed, I was sitting outside in the garden, and a dragonfly, a massive purple and orange dragonfly, came and sat on my hand. I looked on the back of its wings, 4 wings, and I saw the Lamat Star. I swear I saw it. In that moment, I felt like I had found my calling. I needed to help others reach Lamat as well. Just like any seed, it has to be watered in order for it to grow. In this case, acts of nonconformity enable the seed to flourish. Okay, so stage 3, communication. Stage 1 and 2 are mostly dream-based experiences. Stage 3 is completely an out-of-body, soul travel experience. Very few make it to this stage. During stage 3, you will already have the seed, so you will be welcome to visit the Lamat paradise for a short time. This is the realm on Jupiter's great red spot, known as the plasma plains. The plasma plains is inhabited by the entire Maya civilization. After they vanished from the earth, they ascended into the plains, and there they live as immortal beings. Many temples and ancient buildings house the Maya rulers of the past. These rulers are there to provide the SIs, seeded individuals, with information that they can then take back to the earthly realm. It's important to know that the plasma plains is not physically on Jupiter. It's a gateway into another realm. The realm itself exists separate to the planet and is only available via soul travel. It's not a physical location that one can visit, it's more of a state of mind. The 4th and final stage of contact is different. Unlike the other 3 stages that take place in dreams and during soul travel, this one happens when you are totally awake in a normal state of consciousness. But beyond that, nobody really knows what stage 4 is. Some say it's the death of the physical body. Some say it's the opposite. It's becoming an immortal or an ascended master. To me, it's basically the enlightenment stage, which I have not yet reached, so I can't give you any experience with that one. I'll get back to you on that. So that about covers communication with Lamat and the star. My next goal is to show you a ritual of mine where I communicate with Lamat on camera. I will record the whole working. It's never been shown before, so you can look forward to seeing a very unique ritual. Thank you for watching. Take care, everyone. I'll be back soon.